Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Saturday Sports on NCBNTT television. It's always a pleasure every Saturday evening where we come into your homes and we talk sports. A big congratulations before I start off to Nicholas Paul on the double gold medal and Akil Campbell on his bronze medal, and also Kwesi Brown on his medal as well. Also to the CARIFTA athletes, well done over the Easter weekend. Today we're going to be talking to the man himself, Dennis Allen, the CEO of Rep 868, and anything to do with track and field. Rep 868 is the individual to talk to. It's a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Right, and big up to the original red man, wherever he is. He's outside.
Yep. On his in transit to Canaxico.
Right, he's coaching there. That's Christopher Gill. Normally he'll be seated here with us too, but he's outside doing his thing as the cycling coach. Before we start with the CARIFTA games, let's touch a bit on the performance of Nicholas Paul. You know, somehow I always tend to believe that Nicholas Paul is one of our top ambassadors in sports. But sometimes it's like, okay, he already collected the gold in the sprint, the gold in the current, and
gold in sprint, gold in current for Pan Ams. He didn't compete in any other events.
And it's like, okay, that's another event, right? You also picked up some other medals. And he's coming off of injury.
Yeah.
So it's like he's back.
Almost back.
Right? What's your whole view on his performance, you know?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. You know, it's always good to get a stamp from a South visa. You know, Nicholas Paul is an exceptional athlete. And to see the amount of work that he puts in and the amount of success he's had at such a young age, you know, especially in this year, it's an Olympic year. Everybody is fine-tuning, sharpening the blade, getting ready for Paris. Nicholas Paul is just under where he would have been in the lead up to the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, right? So he'd have probably been about maybe, I would say, not even as much as half a second off, but this is a game of millimeters and microseconds. This is not a game of inches. This is not trying to find seconds. This is very, very small incremental gains, right? That's the term you talk about, incremental gains. So you'd spend 3,000 euros on a pair of shoes because it's 5% stiffer. You'd pay 600 US for a pair for a tire, and you only ride it 3 times because at the top level, you really want to be the best. And to beat the best, who did he beat? Kevin Quintero is the world champion in Karen. I mean, you don't get better than that. He beat Kevin. And Christian Ortega, very talented young man. And, I mean, he beat Christian. He didn't lose a single ride over in LA. LA's track is not the fastest track. There weren't many big crowds, so he didn't really have much to do. And he's directly going straight over to Milton, Canada for the Nations Cup. So, you know, it's a block of qualifying for Paris. And what he has demonstrated, and Kwesi, what they have both demonstrated, Akil is coming along. What those 3 young men have demonstrated is a kind of singular focus on their game that you don't see many Trinidad and Tobago athletes putting in that kind of work, getting that kind of results, being that consistent. And I think they have shown and paved the way for all of our Trinidad and Tobago excellence. I wish I'd see more athletes building and building their brand in that kind of way, and building their performances in that kind of way. So definitely kudos to the lads, and you know, I'm so excited for what's going to happen in Paris.
Before we jump over to the track and field part of the interview,
something I wanted to mention. We didn't talk about the ladies. Alexi Costa had a really dread fall, right? And that kind of threw her off.
Yeah.
So she did the Omnium. So that's 4 events in 1 medal, right? So she had a fall in her first race in the Omnium. And that kind of threw her off. I think it really affected her. She finished all the events, but, you know, it wasn't the full Lexi. Makaira Wallace, young girl, junior, she placed 9th in the 500 meter time trial. It's like half of a kilo time trial. 2 laps of that track. She placed 9th. The top 8 went ahead. So she's knocking. She is a top medal prospect for the World Junior Track Championships. Tatiana Dalga, who is a Trini-based Surinamese cyclist. She's trying to qualify for the Olympics. She came in 10th. And Phoebe Sandy came in 11th. So we have really top quality women on that program as well. Delia Palmer is also a very talented athlete. Those are 4 top women in the region.
But they ride for Jamaica.
Right, but they ride here.
Yeah.
They all compete and ride here at Attleboulder and well, National Cycling Champ, Velodrome. So we have to look at what we're doing right, and we have to fix the things that we're doing wrong. So missing from the picture is, of course, Tennille Campbell. We want to see her do better. She's been having a tough time in the season in Europe so far, but, you know, she's on her program, and we know that Tennille will do her Tennille.
Well, basically, you answered the...
I couldn't talk about cycling and I didn't mention them 4 women.
Actually, you answered the question that I was going to ask, because I was going to ask you, outside of Kwesi Brown and Akil Campbell and Nico, right? Who are the upcoming cyclists,
Sidel,
right? That you have to replace them.
Sidel Samaru.
Because you don't wait till these fellas reach a certain age to look for replacements. So you answer that. Let's go across to our
track and field,
our CARIFTA 2024. I think we did well.
You know, of course, I have to talk about this watching it TV. I watch it on TV just like you. I wasn't there, hint, hint. And that's a big problem, but I'll talk about that later on, because really the focus should be on the athletes. And we got away with 4 goals, but we had some close seconds and some very close thirds. That could have gone either way. Off of the medal table and off of the podium, we had some young people there, 4th and 5th place, that also deserve a mention, you know. LeBron James in the javelin, Dorian Charles in the javelin. We had a couple of other kids, 4th place in the events.
The girl in the long jump.
Janae DeGans is another generational talent. You know, know her from since she's a young girl, Form 1, getting into school. Janae has been an excellent competitor. Her attitude towards the sport, her attitude and her commitment towards training, you know, she really works hard, and you saw it. Yes, she has the CARIFTA championship, she has the CARIFTA medal, and now she also has the CARIFTA record, but she broke it 4 times in 6 jumps. You know, that, I mean, wow. You know what I mean? So she won the Austin Seeley Award because, you know...
Is she the first Trinidad ever to win that award?
No. Who won that as well? Was it Jay? Who was the last one? We've had other Austin Seeley Award winners.
But what I'm looking at is that I'm seeing an improvement in the field events athletes.
Huge.
Huge, because once upon a time they were just Keyshawn, Cleopatra, and maybe the Hammergill, what's her name again? Who's the Candace Scott. Right? So you are outside of the track aspect of the sport. You are seeing more. You're seeing 400 hurdles, right? And the field events, the javelin. You know. We also need to touch a bit on this.
And you see, okay, so track and field, throws, jumps, right? So you have the long jump, high jump, triple jump. You have the pole vault. We don't pole vault here, hardly ever, you know. We see a lot of emphasis placed on the short sprints, and it's almost like if you get a different medal when you win 100-meter than when you win a throw.
Yeah.
And I find it so, it's amazing. A few weeks ago, I went down to, I was in your town, boy. I was down by Sobo Road in Library there. And,
that's the sports they had down there.
Yeah, so they had the primary school sports, that district there. And the amount of talent, boy, George, boy. But they don't have a program down there. So all of these kids just running around wild, pelting mango, doing the thing, running up and down, go for bread and run. You know, they're doing kids. But what we don't understand is that because those children living in these rural areas, and we have to be realistic, that's a rural area. When we see them coming in, we don't have to do youth development with these kids, you know. We just have to do early introduction. We skip the fundamentals. The fundamentals is the first step of youth development, right? They're done running around. They're done eating healthy. They're done active lifestyle, right? What they don't have is support. When you look at some of these kids are 8, 9, 10, and they're almost rubbing shoulders with you. The size, the level of fitness. You can't train that into somebody who is 10 years old, never run, never jump, never pelt anything. You can't, by the time that kid is 15, 16, getting ready for CARIFTA, this young kid from those rural districts, miles ahead. But without the resources, missing it. So Tobago has caught up, they figured it out, and they are doing these throws. They have a lot of the throws athletes came from Tobago. Yeah. A lot of them came from, like Dorian Charles is from Point. You know, when you stand up next to Dorian is a man, you know what I mean? LeBron James from Tobago. His sister was a CARIFTA medalist. And when was that? 2012, 13, somewhere around there. His brother Jaidi James, they both compete in Jamaica. All three of them actually. And they are now, you know, they're about ready to get into the college and all of that. And, you know, the difference between a kid in town drinking packed juice and kiss cake, and no disrespect to the Kiss Bakery, but, you know, that kind of attitude and approach to nutrition, lifestyle, and all of that. I mean, you're starting with a better athlete.
Yeah.
We need to figure out how to get into those communities and how to empower those youth and their families, because, I mean, if you have a kid who driving them to practice, who taking them up, where you getting shoes, where you getting this, that, the other, you know? We have a lot of work to do in the community. And a big part of that is the institutions.
No, you say we. When you say we, who is the we? Is it the Ministry of Sport? Is it the coaches with the track clubs in
So some of these communities, like we are in San Fernando here doing this show. So you have Point Fortin, you have Library, and of course you have Simplex, which is the institutional home. Gonna Esposad, enough respect to all the Simplex athletes, Marshall, Sudenio, etc. The amount of work that these two clubs, Point Fortin New Jets, Simplex, the amount of work that those two clubs alone have done in terms of heavy lifting. When Point Fortin comes to a national championship in town, it's 4 maxi. Them leaving home 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning to get down there, get the kids warmed up and acclimatized to the town vibe, get off of the jet lag of driving 4 hours in a maxi. So it takes...
We have a new highway now, we're 30 minutes.
30 minutes to Sando. But no, seriously, yes, I took the thing to go down Sobo, and I'm going to tell you, I was... Yeah. And the vibes is... It's very important that we understand that it is... you know, the cliche is it takes a village. When you are in a village, it takes a country. Because who are the coaches? How are you remunerating them? You can't charge, a town club can charge $2,000 for the year. you're buying uniform, you're buying your shoes, you have everything, you know, you have all your implements, you're going in a gym. It's not the same thing down in Point or here or in a place like Labre or Mayaro or Beach, but they have athletes there too. So we have to start building out access. We have to start bringing in community-based organizations, not just the track and field and coaching side, but also the community support from the community business. You know, give me a little $2,000 here to buy shoes for this person, that person, or whatever. You know, micro-funding solutions. You don't have to give everybody $3.6 million to go to England to play football in a sweat league, right? I'm just saying.
And you're going short.
And yeah, whatever. And you leave one home. You know what I mean? You don't have to do that, right? But, you know, a shoes here, a discus here, a shot put here. Buy 4 or 5 javelin, give it to the club.
Yeah.
Buy a little mat so they could practice their jumps. These are things, you know, a starting block so they could do block starts. These are things that will go a lot further than most people seem to understand, you know. But that's where I saw it. So when I say that we need to do better by these kids, I'm not just looking at the hierarchy of these sports institutions. I'm talking about the network of support. How do they get funding? Funding for a kid and their family might be $100 in gas once a month. Help out. You know what I mean? A little case of some sports drink. I would say Gatorade or Altitude from SM Jalil, whatever, you know. Give them a little something, you know what I mean? Help these kids. Help us. Because when they win, we love it.
Yeah, we jump on the bandwagon.
We love it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Unfortunately, only 4 gold medals. Some of those kids just missed a little bit to go to the next level. But you know, there's this. Did you see the video where the young kid, the Jamaican kid, was saying he was asked after the relay, you know, how was it for you? And he said, well, it was soft. You know?
And we hit back.
And then we hit back one time, you know, Jamaica soft, you know. And the fact is, we have an idea in our head that everybody in Jamaica could run fast. You know, and that's not true. You know, in the 75 or how much ever years history of champs, you know, only 23 schools, boys and girls, have won the championships. 23 out of 160 something, right? Champs is 3,000 athletes in champs, in Jamaica champs. All of them in winning.
True.
Some of them getting the back blown out too. So the idea of just because you have on a yellow, green, and black uniform, you're untouchable, no.
Hold that thought 1 minute. We need to take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the discussion.
Yeah, man.
Viewers, you are watching Saturday Sports on NCBNTT television. We'll be right back after this short break.
Change on TV to the sound boy, better stay calm, be cool.
Hi, I am Nigel Coutier.
Hi, and I'm Jovan Paulette.
We are coming to a community near you. We're going to speak community talk. We want to hear your issues, your concerns, or what will improve your community.
Look out for us. We'll be coming soon, Nigel and myself, to your community to hear in whatever way we can do to improve your environment, be it employment, infrastructure, anything to improve your living as well as our own.
Community talk coming soon.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Saturday Sports on NCBNTT Television. I'm chatting with Dennis Allen, the CEO of Rep 868. We're doing a bit of a recap on our performance at the recently concluded CARIFTA 2024 in Grenada. You was talking about...
yeah, you know, I don't like to call names, but the young man who called out the Jamaican, you know, it took a certain amount of cojones to make a statement like that. But physically, he backed it up in his individual race, and he backed it up in his relay leg. You know, he put it out there. But the realistic thing is, Jamaica came into that particular relay, the under-17 boys, with
as your favorite.
Yeah, but only because they're Jamaican. But the team that ran, Jamaica's number 1, Jamaica number 4, Jamaica number 15, and Jamaica number 59. Right? The team that we fielded was number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So we had a competitive advantage, and we needed to execute to win. In the boys under 20 400, 4x1, you know, we fielded a really strong team as well. And the idea of Jamaica is not an unbeatable team on any individual level. But you see, when they come at you, they're coming at you with artillery, they're coming at you with an air force, they're coming at you with ground troops, they have trained dolphins, everything they're hitting you with. So that level of institutional might, it's going to be tough to build, to beat a Jamaica. And I will say this, if it wasn't for the limit of 2 athletes per event, Jamaica would probably win 90 medals, right? They're capped out. But look at where they're coming, where those medals are coming from. They're not winning. They don't have to win all the relays. They don't have to win all the individual sprint events. They're not doing that anymore. They're beating you in pole vault. They're beating you in discus. They're beating you in areas that previously Jamaicans had zero interest in. Because now you have like 4 discus throwers in the men's top 10, I think, from Jamaica. 4. So when you look at what they're doing right, we keep focused on what they're doing wrong. And we use that little wiggle room to capitalize. When Jamaica makes a mistake, we capitalize and we make sure we bust their head. But the reality is, you know, they're making fewer and fewer mistakes, and they're spreading the ground a lot further. More women in different events, more women in sprints and throws and jumps. They have, for the first time, I think, or the second time, they had the pole vault at champs. You have javelin, and they're throwing records. They're getting into the CARIFTA games with records. So that's idea of where we at. You know, we need to be more consistent, and that takes a level of investment in the clubs. In Jamaica, the clubs are pros. The schools, the big schools, the top 10 schools in boys and the top 10 schools in girls, they all have major clothing and equipment and shoe sponsorships. Some of them have their own track. Walmer's track, I think, is a 9-lane track. That's a high school track, better than half the curb. We don't have a 9-lane track in Trinidad. You know, or Tobago.
Yeah.
They have one in a high school. The idea that we have to catch up one weekend in the year, no, my brother. Get it out your head. We have to start looking at the institution of sport. It's an orphan industry. We need to look at it from a new business model. And this present business model, it's not working. The show, where are the sponsors? You understand? Where the big sponsor banner right here? Look. Where the sponsor banner? We are, I mean, how long you doing a show, George? I don't have to talk. I'm not trying to shame anybody. But where's the community? George is San Fernando. George is South. When George go out there, it's like an ambassador for South. You gotta get support. When you see this, people tell me they want a photo, and I tell them, okay, I will give you a high res with no. They say no. Put the sticker on it because that makes it premium. It's like a Rolls Royce. You ever see a Rolls Royce without the little angel popping out of the bonnet? Then it's not a Rolls Royce. It's something made in Uzbekistan or something. You know, a Rolls Royce or something.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that sport is a particular type of landscape, and it needs resources coming in at the bottom and not just at the top. We don't need an ex-Mondo track. We don't need an multi-billion-dollar multi-sport facility. We need to invest properly, not just throw money at the problem. We need to invest in not just giving new coaching certification, but the people who are already coaches, like a Gunness, like a J. Hugh, allow them to go and get the kind of tools and get the right analysis, high-speed video cameras.
You know, I always try to figure out Gunness Prasad, right? Gunness coach, Keston Bledman, also Sideno. Simplex Club has produced top athletes.
Always.
But I've never seen him on a coaching trip with any national team or anything like that.
Well, I think that, how to put it, that is their own internal politics, and I don't want to get into that, but it's not nice, right? I did not go to Grenada, right? And I offered to go for free. For free. Grenada is the cheapest CARIFTA games to go to. Grenada, then what you call it, Guyana. It's cheaper to go Grenada and to go Guyana than to host at home. That's to tell you. So if you can't send me when you're going Grenada, that means you're not doing your work. Okay? You're not doing your work.
That is similar sentiments I get from Clayton Clark too, you know.
Boy, Clayton has had to go through some things.
I just feel sorry for him, you know.
Well, we started to feel sorry for each other. We started to hug and, you know.
I just really feel so, and that feel like it'd be hard to track and feel, you know.
Boss, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
The leadership in track and field right now, all of them need to fall on their sword.
And we are calling no name.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
Right? Aside from 1, 2, 3 people, 4 people, and I could call their names, but I wouldn't call their names. Michelle, J. Hugh, Paul, and Dexter. Everybody else needs to get out of the way. Everybody else, get out of the way. I didn't call names, right?
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
I just want to say that. Yeah. Because they're not doing their job.
Yeah, that's a fact. And that's what, when you go through the villages or you talk to people in track and field, you know, wood on the ground is similar to what you were saying. Right?
You know, there's a saying, grass growing, but the horse starving.
Yeah, yeah.
The grass not growing. Whatever little bit of grass it had it burning. The horse dead. You know what I mean? The few athletes that are doing it, their parents are doing it. Their clubs are doing it. Those athletes are making sacrifices, and they are doing it. Right? Lalini, CSEC, top quality. Right? Top in the nation, top in CSEC in the Caribbean. Kaylee, top in CSEC in the Caribbean. If you look at who are the other athletes, they go in colleges and convent, right? Janae DeGans, Bishops. Who are the top schools in the country in secondary school championships? Bishops QRC. Who is the next school? Benedict's, right? It shows that the people who have the resources are giving it to their kids, and those kids are making us Rep 868. It is not the kids who are in the Youth Elite program. That has failed. It has failed. It is a business model that is doing the top-down You find the best and you get them money. That don't make sense. It don't make sense, right? Which youth elite program athlete is going to win an Olympic medal? Which one of them going to run sub 10, sub 11? Which one of them are going to throw up national records in the javelin or anything? None. None. Why? Because you're doing it the wrong way. If I could tell you that and I'm an outsider, that means you're listening to the wrong people in your own organization. If you keep listening to the wrong people because all you want to hear is the same thing resonating in your head, right, yes, I'm a champ, and pattern on my back, and no. It's not working. Atto Bolden talks about it. I try to skirt the issue until it hits you in the face, right? It's not working. And if we keep trying to put money into that, what we will see it continue to collapse. How much money do they get from ministry? People go play in the ministry doing their work. Sport company doing their work. The sponsors doing their work. Right? When they win in Puma because Puma doing their work. Who is not doing their work? Time to go.
When is the next election?
It go be after Paris. So it's about a year and a half too late.
You know, what I realized, and you saw it fit with this man from Tobago and this 100 athletes, footballers, and 55 adults.
We have an extra hour to talk about that?
That went. Plus you carry a 3-year-old child, right, to a football tournament. When you reach in England now, you can't even make a full side because you don't have the enough number of players. How much million? He has got $3-point-something million.
3.6 or 3 point something like that.
Right? Yeah. From the thing. So my point is that a lot of the administrators in sports is who is really hindering the sports.
If you send a funding request to all of these agencies and it look good on paper, and you do all your due diligence, and you have all of your backing up documents, everything stamped, what they going to tell you? No? Of course not. They're going to give you that. So he made a case, and he did it properly, and it was presented properly, and then they told him no. But he went anyway. He went anyway. And whosoever, the value in sport comes from this: commercial, political, community, commercial. It obviously had no commercial value. It obviously had no community value. Sorry, wrong finger. I shut up this finger. Political value. Yeah. So whoever bail him out, obviously they cannot resist the influence from that body of people behind them. So if you walk it back, it's always follow the money. Where's the money coming from, and why is it going there? Why did we spend $3.5 or whatever, more than that, $1 million to send people to a recreation league sweat in Manchester? The closest that came to Manchester United is that they stay in a hotel that is affiliated to Manchester United. And what does that mean? Nothing. Right? People save this video 10 years from now. Anybody whose name was on that list that go and playing pro football or playing college level football in Division 1 or playing in any pro league anywhere or make a national team, call me and tell me, and I will eat every single word that I just say. None.
And you know, there are people, including himself, trying to justify that whole program.
It's people good name you're trading on. But that's a trick you could use once. So they went to England, and you're right, they never was stranded. Because the organizer said, all right, you know what? They're good for it. And he was proven right. They were, because they get bailed out. But what's the value? You go in and you understand what this league is, George. It's a recreation football, grassroots football. These are people who, They're not in the pro league system. So they're not a youth league, a youth team for a pro
club
which is
like
EPL.
Yeah, and how they have the pro.
And then you have the championships. And then you have, let's say, the first 4 leagues in English football. None. And that's hundreds of teams. 5th league, which is like a kind of pro-am kind of, none. That is another sets of hundreds of teams. So you're talking about people who in after-school leagues. You're talking about people in Sunday and Saturday evening leagues. You're talking about people in grassroots, which are development leagues. And you go in and you spending your money, our money, taxpayer money, to go to that. What is the competitive benefit of that?
I know we stray a little bit from the CARIFTA thing, but I wanted to just punch in this
Had to talk that, man.
He said when they were coming back, that going through the airport, everybody had to have a passport in their hand. So he gave, because remember, an 11-year-old stayed back because he lost his passport. You on the verge of boarding a plane. An 11-year-old come to you and tell you he's going to a store where he says 20 meters away, right? You carry 55 adults, but you let that child go with another child who is age 15, right? And he's saying now that the 15-year-old had the 11-year-old passport in his pocket. So 20 meters away from where you were standing to go to a shop, you give somebody a passport. And both of them forget.
I was a teenager, George. So I could tell you straight up, I could see anything happening because it's teenage boys.
Yeah, but why did you send an adult?
You see, they never see come see.
Yeah.
That level of operation, you would catch all kind of absence as a teenage boy.
Yeah, but
you don't think straight.
But my point is, why in a foreign country would you send a child with a next child to go to a store and you have 55 adults?
There's a word for that, George.
Yeah.
And that word is safeguarding.
Yes.
People feel safeguarding is about somebody touching your child bottom or some kind of thing. Safeguarding is all of these things working in synchronicity to prevent any kinds of accidents like this happening. I have only ever traveled with adult teams, right? Or with teams of, like I've traveled to CARIFTA already. So that the youngest person on that team would have been 14. You're not giving a 14-year-old their passport to hold just so.
Well, yeah, I'm glad what you said. But I think we give him enough
fire. Let go. Moving it on.
When we come back, we're going to, the next segment, we're going to talk about what's next for our athletes.
Yeah, man.
2025. Viewers will be right back after the short break.
Trinbago Heritage, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on NCBNTT Television Network.
Hi, I am Nigel. Quote Me Today is your daily motivational segment to start your day right. Join me Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. right here on NCBN. Remember, wake up with a smile. Today is your day.
That's why when we festin', we just bed tired when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, eh. Pop a bottle right now when we festin', we just bed tired when we jammin', we just jam down when we drinking, man it's strong rum, eh. Pop a bottle, push up your hand.
and I'm your host. Today I talk football as usual, and I have with me Linda Bramble, welcome to the set. Michael Raghunath, welcome to the set. Instead, George Jefferson, George Anthony Clark, welcome to the set. That's Dwight DeLeon. The president of the SSFL, Mariri Gonzalez. Mariri, welcome to the set. Leroy DeLeon, welcome to the set, Leroy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in every Tuesday night, and NCBNTT, thanks for the opportunity.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Saturday Sports on NCBNTT television. Then it's 2025. The CARIFTA games will be held in Trinidad and Tobago, right?
And it's going to be a puppy show.
Looking at the athletes who performed in this recently concluded games here, what do you think, or what program should be implemented in order to get these athletes to improve even further than what we saw in 2024? And who are some of the athletes that you feel that is going to be up there when the next game's here?
So, when you look at the under-17s going into under-20, it's very difficult for a first-year under-20 to medal. You understand?
Yeah.
You're medaling at your last year in under-17. You're the oldest kid in that final. You're the youngest kid in the under-20 final. You're running against, throwing against, competing against kids who have another year, maybe even 2 years under their belt. Sometimes it takes that long to get everything together. A lot of these kids transitioning from under-17 to under-20, they're now going through the final years of their growth spurt. They're now adjusting, and most of them are now doing exams. So those strains and stresses take a lot of adjustments. So we have to look at the gold medals coming from first year under 20 into now final year aging out. Those kids who will be aging out in 2025, those are the kids we have to look at. Those are the kids who are coming into under 17, the final year of under 17 and the final year of under 20. Those are the kids to focus the top tier energy on. The generational talents like Isaiah Alder, he's a really good kid. Tafari Waldron, I believe he's aging out. When you start to look at who is gone, the problem is they're still going to be here for at least another year before they go to college. You understand? Most of those kids who are not yet ready to go to college, they will be in a situation where they're doing CSEC, they're doing CAPE, because if they're still in school, they're doing CAPE. That pressure is going to be tough. So where do we get them medals from? First of all, what is the medal target? Do we want to get 30 assorted medals, or do we want to get 10 gold medals? You understand? If I were in charge, I'm not, and I could just advise, I would look at the kids who were 3rd and 4th and 5th in the under 17 and focus on what they need to go to transition into getting to the podium. Where did it go wrong? And we don't do that. Data in the Caribbean, especially here in Trinidad, is a four-letter word, George. So we know they ain't going to do that. The other thing that I would look at is institutionally, are we missing some of those medals because we're simply not competing in it? Triple jump. When you look at a triple jump, you see 4 or 5 people in it. We don't have a pool, right? Multi-sports, we don't have a pool. I think that we missed one of the gold medals with Gigi. She got, it looked like a cramp. I'm not sure what it is that took place in the 200 of the last event of the first day of the HEP.
Because she was
in the lead by
about
far.
200 and something points, so there's no one could have.
Yeah, she was in the lead by far, and but we missed that one. Who else? Kiori Robley is a very young, very talented athlete. I believe she will be back, and she's going to be dangerous. What does Kiori need to get podium ready? It's not just to throw money. It's not this, that, or the other. Maybe Kiori needs specialist shoes. The Vincent twins, what do they need? I could tell you because I talk to their dad all the time. I can tell you what they need. Right, George? Call David Vincent and ask him, what do you need? Because that's your future. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But you don't get that because too many of these heads are too big. The head too big, George. They're not making those communication is a problem for a lot of these people because their egos and what their personal agenda. But then again, we're talking this, and I don't think he's going to be there. But I hope that he won't be there.
Is there a department in the entries where they have somebody who deals with these types of, like reach out to parents to communicate?
There's a program, the Youth Elite program. It's supposedly on paper designed to create podium-ready athletes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's working. In my opinion, I think it's not working. I think I have enough data to demonstrate that it is a complete failure. Right? We talked about $3.5 million just now, and I think they would have spent in the last 10 years nearly $2.5, almost $3 million, and it's not working. We need a different approach, right? We need to look at too many of our athletes are doing things wrong and just using raw power and repetition. So yes, some of these coaches will be able to get the stack right, meaning they would know how to condition an athlete to get the speed up and all of that. Are they doing corrections? Are they fixing technique? Most of the time, no. You're seeing a kid bouncing down the track and the hand going wild like it's a Juve band. And who is correcting that? They're in a club since they're 7. Who is correcting that? Like I said when we were talking about Nicholas, this is a game of milliseconds and millimeters. If you are not fixing the problems that are making these kids go slow or getting them injured or not letting them miss 2 or 3 practices every week because they're sore, that's really the problem. If you spend $2.5 million on recovery, on physiotherapy, on massage therapy, you would have a better situation. Getting these kids the right shoes, rolling the fields that they train on so they don't have those potholes, so they're not getting... When you run on a bumpy field, George, your calves tighten up because it's doing more structural support than when you're running on a flat plain mondo, right? So what tends to happen if you don't get that stress out? You're creating a point of failure for that child. Months, years, season after season, they're going to get hurt. And we see that. A lot of them get hurt when they transition into college because they can't take that jamming. They don't know anything about running 6 days. They never run on an indoor banking. Why not? Why not send a bunch of kids in November to a meet in the States? Let them run 60-meter hurdles. Let them run 60-meter short track. Let them run 200s. Let them get familiar with it so that we have college-ready kids. One time, straight off the train. One time, you come off the plane, you go into your college, you go into your D1, your D2, or your JUCO, or whatever, and you instantly know what is going on. We don't do that. Why we don't do that? Jamaicans do it. Jamaicans doing it. Right? And not just that, Jamaicans doing it. Look at Julian Alfred. Julian Alfred went to school in Jamaica, right? She's basically a product
That's
of
the girl
champs from St. Lucia,
Lucia.
right? World Indoor 60, right? Julian Alfred probably had maybe 5 or 6 of the top 10 times last year. Well, indoor season, right? We need to stop this ego trip. You know, they like to send people on trip, or they like to tell you, nah, you can't go because, you know, nah, you didn't kiss the ring, nah. If you see my fridge and the amount of fridge magnets from all over the place, if you see my passport with the amount of stamp from all over the place, you could know that you gave me a trip or telling me I can't go, you ain't telling me nothing. But send these young, talented stars abroad, especially the short sprinters. Get some more that early middle distance work. Look at who the girls 4x400 under 20. 2 of those girls are sprinters. Keziah, also in simplex, and Janae. They're sprinters. Janae run 1 400, but it was just for training. When you look at what they were able to do, they were able to. Why we had to run 200-meter sprinters in a 4x4? Because we don't have no 400-meter sprinters with them. Why? We're not focused on the right things. If you don't have a 400-meter program, that means your 200-meter runners are 100-meter sprinters. It means that your 800 meters runners don't have speed. That is what is a 400-meter. That is the leeway there, right? It's have people who dedicated to 400 meters, right? So a man like Asa Guevara, he probably never run no 800 in his life, right? But he's a 400-meter runner. Stevie Gardner, he not running no 800s, right? But if you put Stevie in a 200, he blow your doors off. Put him in 100 now. He can't ball there. Why? Because his speed is a particular brand of speed, right? So when we're not developing the right kind of athlete, you see it in the final product, right? And that is coming from the top. I honestly can't wait for certain people to come back into track and field.
That brings me to this question here now. The only 2 athletes that we have really still flying the flag professionally for Trinidad and Tobago outside is Michelle Lee Ahi and Jurim, right? Michelle Lee is on her way out because they in fact...
Age, you can't outrun Father Time.
Right. Jury might still have 1 or 2 years. Who are some of the athletes presently with proper guidance and direction and coaching you see can fill the gap?
Keon Benjamin in the 100.
Yeah. And these are athletes already outside on scholarships, right?
Yeah, so Keon just finished. Che Lara, 400. Judah Taylor. We have in the women's sprinting, you have Akila Lewis, you have Reese Webster.
Those 2, the twins, Fredericks.
Yeah, Sana and Soleil.
They're outside, right?
Yeah, they're based in Atlanta.
Right.
They've verbally committed to Atlanta, to Georgia University. So they will be going to Georgia University. They just signed up.
And they're pretty young still.
Yeah, well, they're under 20. They both competed at CARIFTA. You know, they're generational talent too. You know, they're very. They just came off indoor. They didn't run anywhere outdoor. They ran once outdoor, right? And the difference between being sharp on an Easter weekend is maybe having 1 or 2 races under your belt. The kids who are abroad right now. Maybe not in time but definitely for LA, you're looking at Jenna Marie Thomas, who also medals. She got 3 medals over there. You're looking at people like Jamario Russell. You're looking at Dylan Woodruff. But you're also looking at, Kadeem and Hakeem Chinapu. Them boys is the real deal. You know, the Farina brothers, they're still competing. You know, they will always factor. We have a couple of other guys, Harrison, what's his name? Eric Harrison Jr., 100 meters. Daniel Duncan, you didn't see him yet, but Daniel is a nice kid. He's based in New Jersey. He's a sprinter, short sprinter. He's over in Princeton University. Hopefully we will see him make his Trinidad and Tobago debut in Open Champs this year, if he stays healthy, right? We have a good, strong cadre. Of course, I mentioned Asa Grover earlier on. He just ran a really nice, I think it's his second best 300-meter time. I'm not sure if he ran in Miramar this weekend, but we have a strong cadre of talent. But talent, working hard, working smart, and being supported with resources, we don't have that. We have talent. We have people working hard. We have people working hard alone. We have people working hard without the kind of backup that needed, right? We need to see, you see what Jamaica did in 2006 into 2008 and continued? Taking the best kids and putting them into clubs is what kept them in the sport. Jamaica had the same problem that we did. Athletes would compete for 2 years after they leave school, and that would be the last. If they didn't win a medal, they didn't get a contract, that was the end of it. Imagine if Richard Thompson never got a Nike contract. The only reason Richard Thompson got a Nike contract is because he was one of the fastest young men coming out of NCAAs. Sorry, not NCAAs, NCAAs, right? So when you're coming out of college and you're one of the top athletes now, it's not enough. You have to be a college champion straight into a world champion final. They're not signing, these big companies not signing you in college anymore. They're signing you in semifinals of USA champion, USA qualifying for Olympics and Worlds. Or they're signing you they're signing up by the semifinal line and watching, so. All right, good. You're a semifinalist. Sign here, sign here, sign here. If we're not at that level, we are not going to have the institutional support.
We don't have much time again. We just have under a minute again. What's your closing remarks? And what would you like to see before?
Sport is an orphan industry. What does that mean? It means it needs special tax funds consideration. It needs special investment funds. It means it needs a industry look. It needs access to special funding in banks and other ways to finance. Otherwise, what is going to happen? It's going to keep going slowly. You ever see a kobo just gliding down? I told my son, no matter how high a kobo flies, it is looking for a dead bottom. If we do not understand that that kobo has been circling for a long time, it is not because we are the kobo, it is because we are the potong and we just watching up at the kobo. We need to get sport funding in the right place. Get George, forget TT Game Plan. Give George some money.
They won't do that.
Because I'm telling you something, people in for some rude awakening, because as good as or as bad as you thought that videography and coverage was in Grenada, let's see what happens in Port of Spain next year.
It was a pleasure.
Always, man.
When I was on the other station, a lot of promises were made, but you know they say
promises, comfort to
a fool.
Right, not to George.
No, not me. Viewers, thank you very much for spending this time with us. Thanks to Dennis Allen. You know, he's always, you know, one of my favorites since I'm doing sport shows to be, you know, to come and talk about sports, especially track and field. We hope you enjoyed the show. We're on next week, Saturday, same time, same channel, NCBNTT Television. Have a blessed week. Be safe out there. It's a mad world.